Hey everybody, welcome to Leon's Chainsaw Parts and Repair. Finally getting into this 925 that's been sitting around for a little while. Kent and I hooked up last week and made the final exchange of parts that should be able to get this going. So I've just pulled the flywheel and I see part of what the problem is here. I can't explain why this happened yet, but look at the crankshaft seal. That's the way it was when I pulled the flywheel, and you can tell by that layer of debris that it's been that way for a while. Now, these things fit pretty tight, you know, when you drive them in, so I don't see how the compression of one of these saws would be enough to blow one out. I've certainly never seen that happen, but needless to say, I'm going to investigate this a little bit. And as I'm replacing this piston and cylinder, if when I drive the new seal in it's too loose in the bore of this bracket, I'll probably resort to something like some Loctite to hold it in place, unless the bracket is just completely worn out. But again, that's not a wear point, so I don't know why that would be. But given that this thing had a massively scored piston and cylinder, it's not hard to see where it was getting the extra air from. I mean, that would have been uncontrollable right there. So stay tuned, we'll see what else we find. Okay, I'm going to get you guys zoomed in here just a little bit, know a little more about Kent's 925 that he picked up, and show you why we're doing a piston and cylinder on it. That's the intake side of the cylinder. So this is clear. This thing was run without an air filter or without a good air filter at some point for an extended period of time. In addition, that crankshaft seal being popped out, it was ingesting a lot of debris, and that's why it's jacked up here. Now, it wasn't just that crankshaft seal, because if it was, we would see more scoring down on the bottom side of the piston, because it draws both top and bottom. But up here, that means it was coming right in the intake there. So dirt, debris, crap. You can see the ring landings are all collapsed. That's why the compression was extremely low. And there's also debris in the crankcase here. Now that's sawdust and trash. That's what came out of having that seal blown out like that. So this whole thing's going to get good and cleaned out. I'm going to probably replace the bearing in the ignition plate there, just on principle. It doesn't feel loose, it doesn't feel rough necessarily, but if enough crap passed through here to do damage to the piston, I have to wonder about that bearing, and it makes no sense to put a new piston and cylinder on here and not go ahead and do that. So anyway, a little more diagnosis here. We at least know why this saw ended up in the state that it's in. Okay. That's probably all that I can do tonight without making my neighbors hate me any more than they might already. But the camera level again. Okay, Ken, this is good. Excellent compression. The initial smoke was the assembly oil burning off. Obviously this thing needs to idle a lot more. I need to get a good 20-25 minutes of idle time to kind of seat those piston rings in and all of that, but we're looking good. No problems. The bearing ended up being just fine over here, smoother than silk. A new seal fit in that bore tight like it should. So I'm almost wondering if the previous owner didn't try to use an aftermarket seal and they didn't get the sizing quite right, and that's why it blew up like that, or blew out the shaft. Only thing I got. I don't know. But anyway, say, man, that's good compression right there. So obviously I still need to finish some assembly and get these rubber grips replaced. I think I've got some of those in stock. So anyway, I'll work on buttoning the saw up, but for all intents and purposes, Kent, I'm 99% certain we got a winner here.